from Dodin Survival. Welcome back to another video on my channel. I'm really enjoying making these. I hope you're enjoying watching them too. I'm still learning how to make these, how to edit and put videos up, but I really enjoy doing this. I really enjoy doing the research. I really am enjoying just the real life experience, putting this stuff together myself. It's a lot of fun, and I know it's putting me and my family in a better place, being prepared. So just to jump right into the video today, I wanted to talk about what do I think the 10 most important or common barter items will be in an economic collapse or grid down, SHTF. Who knows what would happen. A lot of people talk about what the most common scenarios are, and I have my own ideas, but I tried to stay very broad in these categories, so these are more categories instead of specific items. I'll list out some specific items too, but these are more categories that could be things that would be very valuable when we're not able to just run to the store and buy these things. So without further ado, number one would be anything that has an addictive quality to it. So addictive substances. We're talking anything from sugar. People have a major sweet tooth. I'm not one of them, but my wife, she has one of the strongest sweet tooths that I know. But sugar, a lot of people are going to want sugar, and it flavors things. It makes life a little more enjoyable. You can calm down the emotions with it. It's going to be important. Stocking up on sugar, and it's pretty cheap. So addictive substances, sugar, caffeine, obviously, tobacco, sex. That's not something a lot of people talk about, but that's in the form of internet pornography or whatever the case may be. A lot of people are going to be without that maybe in an end of the world scenario, and that's an addictive thing. Anything that releases the dopamine in the brain. So I'm not from a moral ground not saying you stock up on Playboys, but that's just throwing that out there. Addictive substances are going to be so. This could also be alcohol. People have problems with alcohol. Anything. So think about that. Anything that stimulates that dopamine rush in the brain. Things that people have a hard time going without. So that's number one. Addictive substances. Number two, food and water. This is on most people's lists, but it's for a good reason, because we can't live without food and water. Hopefully, you're stocking up enough for yourself where you don't have to barter or trade that stuff away, but a lot of people aren't, and if they survive after the event, then they're going to be looking for food and water, and if they can't get it at the store, they're going to be willing to work for you or trade some things that they have in order to get it. So maybe you have extra, what is extra though in the end of the world scenario, but food and water, number two. Number three, medicine, antibiotics, things like that. Drugs. Again, this could be back in the addictive substances category, but I'm thinking more for like the painkillers, for treating conditions that people have, things that they're used to just going to the Walgreens around the corner and picking up, getting a refill on what they're used to. Well, SHTF, you're not going to have access to that Walgreens maybe, and so, if you have a supply on the most common painkillers, antibiotics, whatever, you're going to be ahead of the game. You can trade those away. And then also medical supplies, gauze and tourniquets, and I don't even know, there's so many things that could be in that category, but so that's number three, is medicine, drugs, and medical supplies. Number four, it would be gear and tools. Okay, so if we have to go back to a more primal way of living, not as many things are going to be powered. We're not going to have access to as many of the amenities and technological advances that we're used to now. So we might have to go back to more of a hand-based society of farming and making things by hand. Tools are going to be a big thing. I recommend having all the basics in your garage just for yourself, but maybe you stock up on some of the extra common ones that you can trade away if you need to. And then gear, excuse me, fighting a cold, got my coffee here. Gear, so very rugged, sturdy bags, backpacks, duffel bags, things for carrying things. You think about, there's a lot of homeless people where I live in my neighborhood, and just watching them walk around with only their clothes on, usually they're pushing a shopping cart or something, but or they have a ragged backpack on their back. That stuff wears out, and it doesn't hold a lot. And if you have things to carry your stuff in, especially if you're on the road, you don't have a home, and that might be a lot of people, to trade away good quality carrying cases, bags, things like that. So gear and tools is number 4. Number 5, power, electricity, and ways to recharge stuff. The image that pops in my head on this one is, I believe, after Katrina or one of those hurricanes. I just saw these pictures of, like people were sharing their electricity from their house. The few people that maybe had electricity or something. Maybe this wasn't Katrina. It might have been in New York or something after some natural disaster. But they were offering other people to come charge their cell phones. Assuming that the cell phone network is still up. Again, who knows what could happen? This is just an example, but I saw pictures of people like 10 USB phone chargers plugged into one little power strip hanging out of somebody's window or whatever, because they were offering people to use their electricity to charge their phones. And that was a big deal. People, if they can't charge their phone in their house, and they're homeless or whatever, they're going to be looking for the few places that might have electricity or something, or if there's no electricity, if you have a generator or a hand crank generator or something, you're solar powered, something you're able to generate electricity, people are going to be looking for that to power their devices, their tools, whatever they might have. So, and this category also includes stocking up on batteries, power cords, generators, fuel for those generators, things like that. Maybe you want to stock up on the most common iPhone and Android chargers. You can get them super cheap. Just throw a bunch everywhere, have a bunch for yourself anyway. And then, you won't trade for a lot, but it might be worth something to someone. So that's number 5. Number 6 is fuel. Gas, kerosene, wood, all of that. Ways to power things, kind of tying in with the power one. But, if you can't go to the gas station and get your gas, you're going to be looking for it. Diesel, all of that, not all of this stuff lasts for a long time, but if you use it yourself anyway, you might as well just rotate out, stock up, and then rotate. So number 6 is fuel. 7, you've heard this one before, but skills. I can't do everything. I don't know how to do everything. And you don't know how to do everything. And if you do, I want to find you. But I don't know how to do everything, and I'm going to probably, end of the world scenario, be finding people who can help me out with the things that I need to do. Some big ones that some people might not know how to do, how to find their own food, whether it's hunting, fishing, foraging, right? Those are some specific skill sets. Car repair, or, repairing equipment, knowledge of mechanical know-how. Not everybody's good with that. Working with their hands and just diving into a car and understanding the parts of the car. Food preparation. This is a big one. A lot of people don't think about this. Yeah, you can get your food, but what about preserving it? We might not have refrigerators. We might not have microwaves. We might not have ovens, all this stuff to, keep our food safe. So we might have to preserve it for a long time, because also we might not know when our next food is coming. And if you don't know how to, skin and clean the animals that you hunt, or you don't know how to smoke or can or preserve the food that you get from the garden or wherever for long term, that's going to be a skill set that people are going to look for. Farming the ground, growing crops. My dad has tried for years to grow food in his backyard, and he just can't get it. It's funny because his dad was a farmer, and he's tried his whole life, and he just can't grow anything. So some people need help with that. So category number 8 is going to be, I haven't really heard of this one anywhere. I kind of thought of it myself, and it's not as important. It's not like a huge thing, but I think it's actually going to be something that people might look for eventually, assuming that they're not just trying to survive, and that's digital media. If we lose, grid down or, access to all the normal entertainment that we're used to, excuse me, I think, people are going to be, if they have a way to play digital content, I've definitely thought about, even just for myself and my own family, if something were to happen, if we were to be, locked in a bunker for 50 years, hopefully that doesn't happen, but, I'd want a flash drive, right, or some sort of digital content with all of my favorite music, movies, TV shows, books, etc., right? And this is something that, if you have a large stockpile, digitally speaking, of music, popular music, or whatever, all different styles of music and movies, like on a flash drive, and again, that's cool because you don't have to trade away your only copy. You can just keep making copies, assuming you have access to the technology to make those copies. But that might be something that people are willing to trade a lot for. Digital media, stocking up on music, movies, TV shows, etc. Even just for yourself, so you have entertainment in the end of the world. Number 9 is going to, along with that, is books. This is slightly more practical, especially if you have a lot of books that are of an informational, have informational content. So how-to books on, especially related to survival and farming and prepping and food preparation, like I said earlier, and just skills of how to protect yourself against intruders, or all of that, but even other ones, fiction stuff for entertainment to keep morale up. That stuff is important. Books are going to be a big deal, stocking up on Bibles and religious books, all of that. And then number 10, last but not least, and it's not a huge deal, you've heard it before, but toiletries and hygiene products. Everybody talks about it, and you don't really think about it until you have to, until you run out of toilet paper, but it's not fun. So stocking up on it for yourself, and then for other people too. People might be willing to trade a lot or pay a lot for that. And then other hygiene products, obviously feminine hygiene, antacids. You can go into kind of the drug category with this too. Toothbrush, toothpaste, keeping your oral health up. Nail clippers. It gets really annoying when your nails get super long. Just little things like that we take for granted, right? Combs, brushes, face scrubs. You can get face scrubs in these little packets, and just to feel clean on your face. If you've been out wandering for weeks, you haven't had a shower, and you can have these little face scrub things, or these, dry shower, just things to clean yourself. Soap, all of that. It's going to be so valuable. Ways to start smelling nice, because everybody's going to stink, and we'll probably get used to it. But when somebody walks in and they had a shower, they got some soap, and they're going to smell wonderful, and everybody's going to just like, whoa, look at this person that just walked in. So those are my 10 categories: addictive substances, food and water, medicine, drugs and medical supplies, gear and tools, powers and ways to recharge stuff, fuel, skills, digital media, books, and toiletries and hygiene products. I'm sure there's plenty more. Let me know in the comments what I've forgotten. That was kind of the list that I came up with. I did a bunch of research on it. I thought about it myself, about what kind of things that I would want, in a SHTF or grid down economic collapse situation. But obviously, based on your own situation, based on whatever happens, based on the people around you, who knows what, this could change, this could vary. So this is my list. I'd love to see what your list is. And again, guys, I really appreciate the support. Please keep watching these videos, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you know when I post a new one. I'm trying to get a lot of these up. Like the video, subscribe, and thanks for stopping by. Stay safe, and I'll see you around.